Here we will talk about algebra of functions. The main thing that you need to learn is your notation. The actual concept is not hard, but sometimes the notation is intimidating. The sum of functions is given by the notation f plus g of x. This means that you're going to take the function f and you're going to add the function g. Likewise, the difference of functions is f minus g at x. That means you'll take the two functions and you will subtract them. Fg of x means you're going to multiply the two functions. F slash g of x means you will divide the two functions. When you divide, you have to be careful that the bottom function is not 0. Notice that not only do these notations show you the operations you will be doing, but also the order in which you're going to do the operations. For example, with the difference of functions, if we see f minus g of x, it specifically means that the f function is first, and then you're going to subtract away the g function second. Now, I have a particular way of doing algebra of functions if I'm asked to evaluate at a number. What I first do is I write down what the function would be in general terms, in other words, evaluate it at just an x value. So in this case, I would do f plus g and find out what that would be evaluated at just x. This means I would first take the function f. I will use parentheses around this function, and then I'll add the function g. And I'll also use parentheses around that function as well. It's safe to always use parentheses around your f and your g functions when doing operations. When you're adding, the parentheses are not necessary. But if you're subtracting, the parentheses are necessary. So what I do is I usually put parentheses most of the time, and then that way all my operations perform the way they need to perform. Now this is my recipe. In other words, this is what f plus g looks like in general. If I was actually asked to simplify this, you see there are some terms that would either cancel or I could combine and so forth. However, since I've not been asked to reduce, what I usually do at this step is I then go to the question I am asked, and then I just use this recipe that I have and I plug in the -5 anywhere there was an x. So I would have -5 plus 3, and then over here I would have -5 squared minus -5. Notice the additional use of more parentheses because I'm plugging a negative value in and squaring it, and also have an additional negative sign. So I've used plenty of parentheses so that all my operations work like they should. -5 plus 3 is -2. I can remove those parentheses. -5 squared is 25. A negative is a positive, so this would become plus 5. So we would have -2 plus 30, and then the result of 28. So f plus g evaluated at -5 equals 28. We have to be careful with this particular notation. Remember that function notation, you have the name of your function first, and then if you have the parentheses, this is saying that this is a particular x value that's substituted in everywhere you have an x in your function. A lot of students mistake this notation as they're going to write the functions f and g and then multiply by -5. And remember that that's not what function notation says. The -5 is indicating that you're substituting -5 everywhere there was an x in your function.